Becky, ready?
Yeah. Are you ready?
Morning, everybody. It's 10:30. I'll call the meeting of public safety to order. Becky, would you, if you have a cell phone, please mute it or turn it off so we don't have any distractions. Thank you. Becky, will you call roll?
Sure will. Mike Copine,
Here.
Keen Hudson,
Present.
Katie White. Here. Angie Shepherd.
Here.
And Mike Pearson.
Here. Able to hear me?
Okay. Anybody have anything that they would like to say? You're safe, Paul. Okay. Are there any additions or corrections that need to be made on last month's meeting minutes? Any changes or corrections? If not, they'll stand approved as submitted. Okay. Animal control is not here. Circuit clerk. here.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just briefly wanted to bring you up to speed on the case management system. We will be switching this year. I do not have all the details. I don't have everything in order yet with who's going to be on board, whether it's just the clerks, other departments. But we will be having a meeting very soon and making that decision. But we hope to sign a new contract with a vendor this year. Any questions?
Okay, any questions? Okay, thanks.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Okay. Emergency Management Agency, Kevin, you're up.
Do you want to go over the agreement now? Or
Yes, I'd like to.
Okay.
We have a board action request form from EMA regarding the mutual aid agreement from counties to counties. I'm going to bring it up for a discussion right now. Charlie, would you care to take over on that as far as
Sure, let me pull it up real quick here. Kevin and I had discussed this, I think we're coming up on maybe a month and a half ago or so at this point. There was one section that I told him I had some concern with, but because of the way that these mutual aid agreements work throughout the state, I don't know if there's going to be much that will be able to be done in terms of changing it, but let me pull it up here. Section 6. The last sentence of that first paragraph in section 6, and I can read it to you. And it says, if a person from an aiding unit is injured or killed while rendering assistance under this agreement, benefits shall be afforded in the same manner on the same terms if the injury or death was sustained while the person from the aiding unit was rendering assistance for or within the aiding unit's jurisdiction. I think it's clear on what the intention was, but I think it's ambiguous enough that I'm a little concerned that our county may be on the hook for somebody else that may be coming in here just because it says it's as though they're in the same jurisdiction. It doesn't say who would be responsible for that benefit. So just something to think about. Other than that, the rest of it, I think is fine.
Kevin, your input?
it's like any other mutual aid agreement. It's a standard mutual aid agreement that's written by the agency and then distributed out to all the counties. So I don't know how much lateral we'll have on that. So.
And I think it's just something to consider for the board. Again, all the other counties that are involved in this are going to be in the same boat as we're in too. So it's not a matter of this is specific to our county. It's specific to anybody that is in that membership.
Anybody else have any questions on it at all?
Yeah, I do, Mike.
Go ahead, Angie.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I agree with Charlie. I'm a little concerned about the liability there. Is it possible, do you think, Charlie, that we could, I mean, still have the agreement, but Do you think the state would let us rewrite in such a way that changes that section? What do you think?
So just like Kevin was saying, I think we can reach out to them and tell them our concerns, but I doubt that they're going to do anything in terms of changing it because it is an agreement for multiple counties that have done this. And this isn't the first time we've done this either. I know that there's been an agreement for the mutual aid agreement prior that we've looked at. And I think that language is probably in there before and it got snuck through, but I don't know that they're going to change it. We can certainly ask them to, but yeah.
Kevin, how long has this been in effect?
Since I took office 18 years ago.
Is there anything according to statute, Charlie, that we'd be in violation on? And if we sent this to the board for their review and approval or disapproval?
Are you saying if we send this to our county board for approval or disapproval or, okay. No, all you're doing is if it doesn't go through is we're going to be in a jam in terms of the mutual aid that we give and also provide or given from other counties as well. So, I mean, my encouragement would be to you to continue on with this process that we have in place and we've been doing, as Kevin said, for several years. I know that I've reviewed this document, same one, probably 2-3 times at this point. And again, it was just something that we didn't really focus on or actually see it until this point as a concern. And it may be something that they didn't realize was in there either, because I think the intent is very clear on what was to be done there. It's just to be, if Kevin goes over and assists over in Ogle, we're still on the hook for what's happening there in terms of if there's a death or a liability, because that's just the give and take of this agreement. But it doesn't say that in there. That's my concern.
Kevin, are you aware of any situations that we've had that have brought this element into play?
It's always assumed, and assumptions are not good things, but it's always assumed that when you go help somebody else, you're covered under your own workman's comp, your own liability, that it reverts back to your agency, that the agency that you're responding to is not going to cover you under their liability.
How do you feel about moving this on?
I think it'd be good, and I don't know if Kevin's done it before, to reach out to see if they could make that clear. And all they have to really say is just basically that that person aiding would be covered under their county's liability insurance, whatever it may be. And again, I think this is something that they intended it to be. I just think it's ambiguous enough that it doesn't say it. So I don't know if we want to reach out and see if they're willing to put something in there.
Yeah, we can do that. I'll get with you, and maybe if you have some suggestion,
Sure.
There's a problem, have an answer to it. So
Yeah, but I think it's important enough too to keep in mind that if we do have something where Kevin's going to help somebody else or we're having people come in to help us, we're going to want the help. I mean, that's first and foremost what's important. And if there's some type of liability comes from there, we have insurance for a reason, but I think it's important to try to get that language cleared up.
I understand that and agree that. Excuse me, agree with that opinion. But as far as I'm concerned, the safety of the people that we're responding to help is more important to me than the legal language and the whole thing together.
For sure.
Well, the request was to have it in effect by December 1st. Kevin, does that give you enough time prior to the county board meeting to?
yeah, I can reach out in the next couple of days. Schedule's a little tough right now, but reach out in the next couple of days, send an email back once I talk with Charlie and get some ideas what to say. That's shouldn't be an issue, but again, if it doesn't go through before December 1, that's not a problem.
Are we out of line then if we ask for a motion to move that to the county board with the stipulation of the findings of, excuse me, I'm sorry, of what Kevin comes up with?
So it's certainly the policy decision of the county board to do this. What I would encourage you to do, because I think it's already on executive. I don't know that you need to do anything to move it along to that point.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean county board. I meant executive because it's right in the minutes.
Yep. So I think it's already going to be on executive. I don't think you guys have to do anything in terms of that. And I think it is important enough that you continue to move this along because like I said, it's more important to have those resources available than it is to get this language all cleared up.
Okay. So go ahead with the motion then.
I think so, yeah.
I agree. And, you know, again, we have a couple days to see if we can or cannot clean up this language before executive moves this to the county board, but we have some time. So we just want to make sure that if we can clean up that language, we reach out and figure out if that's a possibility. And if not, as Charlie said, this is a very important, you know, mutual aid agreement that we're going to continue with, or we'd like to.
Okay, concluding the discussion on it then, does anybody else have anything else they'd like to bring up? In regards to the board? Yes, Mike.
Before we get it to full board, can we just have clarification either before the meeting or when it gets brought up? Yes, that language did get cleared up.
Yes,
Charlie's saying yes.
we will get that clarification to you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Actually, it's already scheduled, Mike, with the executive committee. It's just coming before our committee to determine whether we want to move it forward to the executive committee.
Okay, sorry.
So that, no, that's all right. Okay, I'll entertain a motion that we move this to the executive committee for their ruling and decision. All those, I'm sorry. I didn't see which one of you got your hand up.
He did.
Okay. Motion made by Dean, seconded by Keen. Any discussion on it? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Hi.
So moved. Motion passed. Kevin, do you have anything else? I see you were kind of busy. Well, when aren't you busy, but
Yeah, everything should be in the packet. If you had any questions on the report, I'd be happy to answer those.
okay, any questions for Kevin? Okay, thanks, Kevin. If not, we will move on.
Hey,
Yes,
Just make sure that you made the appointment. So the minutes are clear. on it.
okay. We didn't do that. You want,
You didn't call me on a roll, Becky.
okay, so for quorum's sake, we had Dean Frail sit in for Angie Shippert. So you want to, I'll call Dean Frail for the role.
Here.
And then Mike, do you want to officially appoint him to the committee?
okay, Dean, you are officially appointed to sit
Thank
in
you.
on this committee meeting. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, because I wasn't official when we took.
Charlie, do we need to do a revote on this since we didn't get him covered quick enough prior to the decision?
If we're gonna make this as clear as possible and as clear as mud as it is right now, you probably should, just because he was not officially appointed at that point.
Okay, so just,
Just do a revote.
okay, all right. So I need.
And
I'm
it
going-
it got a little bit murky because he made the first motion too, and I wasn't sure what he was, if he was here for the committee, if he'd been appointed to it, so I want to make sure that's clear.
Well, and I apologize for that. That's partially my problem too, or mistake. So just start all over with the motion again.
If you can, yeah, just to make sure that it's, you know, after the appointment to the committee, he's able to make that vote.
Okay. So I'll entertain for a motion by Dean, seconded by Keen. The discussion and a reminder that Dean has been appointed to sit in on the committee. Okay. Hearing no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
I.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you. I apologize for that. Stacy, you're up.
Thank you. We continue to work with the IT department, getting our new computers and new software installed and up to date. If you recall, last month, We were just beginning to have all of the computers within the department replaced. We, I think, have about 3 to 4 computers remaining to be installed. So I am hopeful that by the end of November, beginning of December, we will have that done and be ready to go for the next few years with our new equipment.
I better not ask. Anybody else have any questions for Stacy? I'm going to ask, how many are they able to get programmed at one time?
One at a time is about how it goes. There's quite a bit of information that has to be transferred from one computer to the next. So it is a little bit of a work in progress. And there are some other computer projects that are taking place, IT projects within the new courts building. So sometimes some of that takes priority over getting ours installed. But we've got Travis that has been working with us and he is staying on task to get that all taken care of.
You're comfortable with that?
I think we're moving at a good rate right now. Yes.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Thanks, Stacy. Sheriff is not able to make it this morning. He is busy on an investigation. It would probably be of interest for you to take a look at the reports that he has submitted. The Flock security camera has produced a couple of other significant arrests, and there's a couple of other letters there. There's a resolution of interest that you might like to take a look at. So that's all I have on the sheriff's part of it. I'm just checking to see if there are any more significant. He's short a couple of employees, I think one in correction and one also in the road division. So you can take a look at those. Those are in the packet. Charlie, anything on the update on the collection of unpaid fines or anything?
So we did just switch over to Paycort. It's been active for about a week and a half at this point. They've already hit the ground running substantially more than the last place did. So we're optimistic about that, but I don't have any numbers to give you anything at this point. I know that there's been some good developments that some of the even early 90s to late 90s cases have been resolved already at this point with the collections agency. So again, looking optimistic.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Boonstra?
Hey, Mike. Mike. He's got the appellate prosecutor resolution too on the agenda.
Okay, yeah, Charlie, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, so the appellate prosecutor resolution that's on there is a budget item that we have every year from my office. It's for the appellate prosecutor's office to assist us with appellate work that's done. If they didn't help us with that, we would have to go down to Springfield and take care of those things ourselves as well. And then it also helps us with conflicts on cases that come up, legal advice. So many times that we will have like a motion to quash or some type of motion that's been filed where we have to talk to the appellate prosecutor's office because they're the ones that will end up defending us at the appellate level and say, what are you guys looking at in terms of case law for this particular issue? Or what are you looking at that we need to consider when we're arguing this in court? And they're a huge asset for us. So this is just so they're appointed again to provide us with those services. And I think you'll see as well from the budget, their services did increase. And I can't remember if it was 1,000 or 2,000. It's based on population though.
Any questions for Charlie on this resolution? We need to move this on.
Correct. It should be going to the full board, I believe, next week for the approval of the resolution. So if you want to make a motion to approve the resolution as it's written to push along to, I think it's on executive already. Then that can be discussed at executive as well.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for this to be moved on to the executive.
Move.
Keen moves. Dean seconds. Any discussion, questions on it? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved, resolution passed, moved on. Charlie, is there anything else you need to go over?
Just that I'm going to be looking for another assistant state's attorney because my first assistant's going to be retiring in May. So if you know anybody, send them my way.
Which one's the first one? Is that,
Brian Brim.
you tell him I said he's not old enough?
I've been trying to tell him he's not allowed to.
Yeah, well, I still have.
Keeps telling me I'm wrong.
Tell him I still have handcuffs. Wish him the best for me if you would. Anybody have any other questions for Charlie? Okay, having nothing under unfinished business, or Charlie, do you have anything under? Okay. Nothing listed for unfinished business. There's nothing listed for new business. Anything for executive session, Charlie?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Thanks, Keen. I'm gonna back up one step, and Jeremy, do you have anything you wanna update us on as far as abandoned buildings?
Yeah, so we have a hearing today at 2:00 across the street for the Lee Center School, with the county's interest in trying to take legal ownership of that facility and property. So moving to the next phase of that. There are a couple other developments throughout the county. I know the health department has continued to work with the state attorney's office, the Dixon Rural Fire Department, and other departments in the issue that's ongoing at the Magnuson Hotel, as well as we are working together on the Eldina School project as well. So there is a potential developer that's interested in the Eldina School project. The Eldina nursing home is what we're working on. That's abandoned and significant disrepair and falling apart. It's a health and safety hazard. But the Eldina School, there's a potential developer, industrial manufacturer that's looking at that site, which could be interesting because that's been another issue for us in our abandoned properties group. But so far, things are going well. We have not used any of our Strong Communities Grant Program that is for residential housing. Continuing to work with the City of Amboy and Franklin Grove on the use of that, and the City of Dixon as well. So hopefully we could get those moving. We have about a half a year left for those funds to be expended. So if if we get closer to the deadline, we're just going to have to execute on some of the homes in unincorporated Lee County.
Did we receive anything from Franklin Grove or Amboy and potential numbers for?
So Franklin has discussed the fact that they have moved on a few of the properties already, and I had sent them all of the details on reporting execution, as well as the criteria of. I have not received anything back yet. That hit the clerk's office there. The Public Works Department in the City of Amboy are working with 2 homeowners right now to take ownership of their property, and we'll be moving through that process as well to help refund and reimburse them on expenses.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Jeremy on any of that? Okay. I have nothing showing for new business. Charlie, nothing for executive. Okay. Entertain a motion for adjournment judgment. Okay, I'm all right. Motion. Brain fog. Motion by Katie, seconded by Dean. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, everybody. Apologize for all the confusion.